Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Jane.
Welcome to Love Letters, Life, and Other Conversations. Hello, Wendy. How are you?
Hi, Jane. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Can you believe that we are almost halfway through August?
I can't believe that because I'm spending the entire month of September in France. And
I
it
know
felt
you
so
are.
far away, and now it's almost here. I'm very excited.
It's like 2 weeks away. It's incredible. What date do you get here?
The 3rd.
3rd. Perfect.
Yep.
And I'm 3rd is a Saturday, right? And I'm seeing you on the 5th.
The 3rd is Saturday. I arrive in Bordeaux, then I come to Paris on Sunday, and then I see you on Monday.
Yes. Can't wait. Cannot wait. I'm seeing you on Monday because I'm seeing you at book club, and then we're going to have lunch as well, aren't we?
Yes.
And so when I was writing that in my Filofax a couple of days ago, it prompted me to think, what will I use as our springboard this week? And at the moment in book club for the month of August, we're doing Becoming Beauvoir by Kate Kilpatrick. Becoming Beauvoir is all about Simone de Beauvoir. Of course, she was a French philosopher. She wrote many books, papers, articles, amazing. She was really, well, it's funny because she was always associated with Sartre, but she was such a force to be reckoned with herself.
Okay, completely unfamiliar with her.
I've been having a lot of fun reading this book. I've probably got still a quarter of a way to go, but I just absolutely adore what I'm reading and all about her. And I thought that I would use one of her quotes today as our springboard. And it was one that the girls and I on Monday discussed. So I thought that might be a fun one to look at.
Yes, please.
So here is a quote by Simone de Beauvoir. One's life has value so long as one attributes value to the life of others.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She had a very, very complicated life. And so I find this quote particularly interesting because, for instance, philosophically, she believed that what thoughts she had in her mind were the only thoughts, really, and that there was nothing else other than her reality. So that quote really contradicts her philosophy. And as she got older, she did start to think differently about that. But what do you think of that? One's life has value so long as one attributes value to the life of others.
I think it's really interesting. And I think that there's a lot of spiritual principle that are different ways of saying a similar thing. So how, that we are always manifesting, right? Like whatever we are thinking about, whatever we are saying to ourselves, all of this, we're either manifesting good or we're manifesting bad. If we are about to change jobs and we're only talking about how tough the job market is and how hard it is to find a good job and how, no one ever values my contribution, or, you're probably not going to find a good job where you feel super valued and the process is easy. And if you're looking for love in your life and you think all the good men are taken and you think, I just think you get what you give. And if you're giving out positivity and you're seeing the good in things, you'll find it. You will find what it is you are looking for. So instead of blaming all the junk that you're finding, changing the perspective or the focus of what you are actually looking for, and see how your day changes. It's reminding me as well, Amelia has this gorgeous ability to recognize the shape of a heart everywhere she looks. We were at Disney and we were just walking across the entrance bridge to Animal Kingdom, and there's this huge, it's a man-made structure, but it's called the Tree of Life, and it's giant and it's elevated, and it's just this massive epic statement piece as you're walking in. And Amelia says, "Mom, look." And of course, I'm looking at the Tree of Life thinking she's going to mention, and she's looking down on this bridge. The walkway of the bridge is a series of pebbles that have been turned into, the stepping area. What you step on is the whole collection of pebbles that are connected together by some, I don't know, material. Anyway, one little teeny rock on the ground is the shape of a heart. Mom, look, it's a heart. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I always tell her when I'm dropping her off for school and I'm saying, you're kind and you're a good friend. And I say that you find love everywhere and you bring love everywhere. And I just think that we find what we are looking for.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And what you were saying about the spiritual side of things, I mean, she grew up in the 6th arrondissement in Paris. She was a de Beauvoir. She was a little de. So she came from quite a noble family, went to a good Catholic girls' school, was educated at a good Catholic girls' school. So I think a lot, that those morals and principles are, really drilled into you in that sort of educational setting. But it's funny that you should say that Amelia can find the beauty in the form of hearts. Well, she finds more than that, because I've been on walks with Amelia. Yes. She stops and she's never going to have to learn to smell the roses, because she already does.
Yes.
And as soon as you said that, I quickly turned back to a page. I only read it like earlier today, and it was this. She called this Memoirs of a Tidy Little Girl. My love for the countryside took on mystical colours. As soon as I arrived in Merignac, the walls crumbled, the horizon receded. I lost myself in infinity while remaining myself. I felt on my eyelids the heat of the sun, which shines for everyone, and which here, at this moment, caresses only me. The wind swirled around the poplars. It came from everywhere. It jostled space, and I twirled motionless to the ends of the earth. When the moon rose in the sky, I communed with the distant cities, the deserts, the seas, the villages, which at the same time were bathed in its light. I was no longer a vacant consciousness, an abstract gaze, but the stormy smell of buckwheat, the intimate smell of heather, the thick midday heat, or the chill of twilight.
Wow.
And I know. You are going to love this book.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I am. I love that she twirls motionlessly.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So it's that contact with nature.
Mhm.
And during her, right through the book, it talks about all different episodes and periods every year in her life when she goes on these massive solitary walks, like she walks for 9-10 hours a day.
Wow.
And she doesn't think that's out of the ordinary at all. It is part of her life. I mean, it's completely out of the ordinary. You know, you tell me people that do that all the time. I mean, I know there are people that go and walk the Camino for a purpose and that it's a bit of a mission. But she does this. She does this almost as a need to breathe, you know, as a need to, she must be surrounded by all those things that I was just reading
Her
in
life
order to
pilgrimage.
Yeah. In order to write, in order to think, in order to put purpose to her thoughts and to really, I guess, articulate in her mind what she's going to write about. Very
effective.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting to me too, because again, with the hearkening back to just different spiritual principles of we are not separate, we are all one. And so when you think of a person leaving the city, going to the country, you would think like that's an act of separating yourself and taking yourself away to a new place. But yet she writes, when she is there, she is actually one with what is growing around her. And when we can conceptualize this idea that we are actually not separate, we are all rays of the sun, we are all waves in the ocean, as Marianne Williamson speaks of in Return to Love. Giving value to another's or to one's life is at the same level of how we value another's life.
Exactly.
It's
like that moment when you first understand, when you're a kid, you look in the sky and you first understand that that moon is the same moon that is shining down on someone that means something to you a long way away.
Right.
You know? And as a child, I had not been overseas yet, but I understood that that moon was the same moon that was shining on my grandparents who lived 3 hours away. And I remember thinking that that was amazing.
Right.
I still think that's amazing when I look out the window and I see, you know, I mean, you know me, I get up for the full moon all the time. Remember the night you were here and you rang me?
I do.
You rang me and you said, Jane, I know you wanted an early night and I know you're asleep, but you have got to get out here now. And I ran outside barefoot and ran through the grass and found you in the forest.
You took KB's shoes.
I took KB's shoes, yes, so that you and I could run through the forest and watch the moon come up over the horizon. It was incredible.
I've never seen its equal.
I know. But you know that one day you are going to see an even better moonrise, or because that is just the nature of the moon, right?
Right.
But I love the way that she describes that. I love the way that she describes nature and the wind and the sun shining on the eyelids. It's you're so right. How can you be that in tune with yourself and not be in tune with the lives of others or care for the lives of others?
If you're a narcissist.
Well, yes, there is those.
You're not in tune with your life. You are obsessed with your own life.
Yeah, true.
Big difference.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very, very true. Anyway, I am.
She is still alive.
No.
Okay.
No. She died in, let me see if I can get the 1986 at the age of 78.
Wow.
April 14. She died on April 14 in 1986. She was born on the 9th of January. That is so interesting. It's so interesting because there's so many things about her as I'm reading this book.
Okay.
Like I got up this morning and I was making my tea and Pete was in the kitchen and I said to him, guess where Simone de Beauvoir and Sartre lived for 4 years? He said, I don't know. Do you want me to guess? And I said, no, I don't want you to guess. I'm going to tell you. They lived in Hotel La Louisiane, number 60, Rue de Seine in Paris. That's where Pete and I had our honeymoon.
You're kidding.
The same place. Now, let me tell you what I've just looked at when I was looking at her biography. She was born on January 9. My sister's twins were born on January 9.
Oh, my.
She died on April 14. One of my closest friends' birthday is April 14. There have been so many funny little synchronicities with this.
Pull out your synchronicity journal and jot those down.
I know. I am. I'm just actually a little bit blown away by that.
Right.
There's just been so many things that her first teaching job was in Rouen.
Oh, wow.
Right? You know, the city that's like 20 k's from me, where I go all the time.
All the time.
Just so many interesting things. There is a whole side to her that is totally shocking in terms of the way that she lived her life. Let's just say there were multiple partners and she and Sartre were in an open relationship. But I'm finding that fascinating, but I have no synchronicities there, my friend.
Did you ask Pete? Guess what else I find fascinating?
Well, I've been telling him and Dave and Meredith over dinner, you know, like I came down.
Are they there?
So she said, yeah, Dave and Meredith are here at the moment. So like she had Tuesdays and Thursdays with Olga, and she had Wednesdays and Fridays with Simona, and Monday nights were reserved for, well, it was actually Thursday nights, were reserved for having dinner with her parents. But it's the philosophy and the questions that is asked in this book that is just so interesting.
What is the premise of the book? Is it an autobiography?
It's a biography.
Okay.
It's a biography. And it's it's a big, thick book, which, you know, I wondered whether I really was going to be able to have it for book club, but everyone at book club they're all devouring it. They love it.
Wonderful.
You know, we're actually thinking that we might go on and read a couple of her novels, which are novels, but they are written with a thread of philosophy all the way through them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a lot of novels are, really, but because she was also a philosopher, it's very interesting from that point of view. Anyway, that was my little springboard for you today.
I love it. She's I really appreciate the 2 excerpts that you shared. She's a very gifted writer and communicator.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, it seems to me, it would take me a very long time to read that book because I would want to reread a few sentences and
that's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I've been doing. I love this one, Wendy. I mean, I love the way she writes, and I love the way she thinks. I am awfully greedy. I want everything from life. I want to be a woman and to be a man, to have many friends and to have loneliness as well, to work much and write good books, to travel and enjoy myself, to be selfish and to be unselfish. You see, it is difficult to get all which I want. And then when I do not succeed, I get mad with anger.
Wow. I think she required an open relationship.
Yeah, well, let me tell you.
That's way too much for one person.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. She's very profound.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a very, very interesting person. And I would really encourage everyone to read it.
Right.
And we could delve into a little bit more of her stuff on another podcast one day.
I would like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you get to a certain age where all of a sudden, wow, this is really interesting. Like, she would no more have interested me 30 years ago than Fly to the Moon. But just reading her descriptions of, and as she writes, she questions. And so with every page, there's a question, and like you said, you sort of have to stop and think, oh, wow. I mean, just today I was looking up, she describes herself as a, I'm not going to say it in case I get it wrong.
Oh, okay.
But she believed philosophically, and there's a word for it, it's solipsist. Solipsist.
Okay.
And it means, see if I can find it. It actually means, it's a philosophical idea. And her thought was that her mind exists.
Okay.
But a solipsism holds the knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. So the only thing that one can be sure of is what goes on in one's own mind.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And that the external world and other minds cannot be known, which is so true.
Yes.
And might not exist outside the mind of the person who's thinking about it.
That's really fascinating, especially as I think I told you I was going to start A Course in Miracles in October when I returned from France, but I decided, with the wonderful encouragement of a dear friend and friend of our podcast, to say, since she started doing it, she's become a better person, and why anyone would want to put off becoming a better person, she can't think of a good reason for that. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to start today. So I started last week, and I mean, it's good, and it's, it's 365 days of these principles, and you only think about them for a minute at a time, and they're very baby steps at first. However, one thing that Marianne Williamson says in her interpretation of the course, but also in the book Return to Love, which is essentially the Cliff Notes from A Course in Miracles, she says that the only thing that exists is love, and everything else is an illusion. And everything is either loving, every interaction, every thought, everything is either loving or a cry for love. And it just, we've talked before about the perspective and what happens when we can either know what's really happening in a situation of why someone's acting a certain way, or when we can remind ourselves that the conversation we're experiencing is either loving, and if it doesn't feel loving, the only other option is that it's a cry for love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting, and so interesting what you what you were articulating. And I think this is the big thing that's come away from this. I talk about my girlfriend Mish.
Yes.
Who is coming here on Friday.
Oh, fun.
She is the one that says to me, whenever I've got an issue or a problem, and I'll say, and I bet he's thinking blah, 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 or I bet she's doing this because this is what's happening, or that's what's happening. She says, stop, Jane Austen. She calls me Jane Austen. Stop, Jane Austen. And I say, what? She goes, you know that the only thing that is true in anything you have just said is what you know.
That's right.
You don't know what she is thinking. You don't know what he is thinking. You don't know what they are thinking. All you know is what is true for you.
100%.
So
Mish
I guess
is a wise woman.
She is a very wise woman. She'll be, oh my gosh, she will be here next week. Why don't we do one with her as well?
I would love
The
it.
three of us.
I would love it.
Would you like that?
Yes, please.
It's your
and we
turn.
can let her, she can choose the springboard.
Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh, she will love that.
Yay, I'm so excited.
Love that.
Perfect.
So it's solipsism. Solipsism. Solipsism is the theory that only the self is real, and that the self cannot be aware of anything else except itself. An example of solipsism is the idea that nothing matters except self.
I would say that I am not whatever you call a person that believes that, but I would say that I am a person who believes that instead of self, love. Because I
like, and I think maybe self and love can be
my highest self is 100% love. Yes.
Because the earliest reference to this philosophical theory is found in the ideas of Hindu philosophy.
Sure.
From the first millennium BC.
Okay.
They hold that the mind is only to be the only God, and all actions in the universe are thought to be a result of the mind assuming infinite forms.
Wow.
So interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
So interesting. But I like that. I like the way that you've interchanged love with self.
It works for me.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what that is, right? That definition of the only thing,
linked, my friend.
That's right. The only thing that exists is what's in my own mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. I loved that. I loved that introduction to her as an author. Thank you. I love the way that she uses contrast in the way she communicates. I'm still very moved by twirling around motionlessly.
I know. So beautiful.
Yes. Oh, that was great. Thank you so much. What is your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway is this, and I know that you will love this. And I saved this to the end just so that you could have a little think about it. And I know you'll get onto Amazon and probably order the book straight away.
Yes.
But she says this, my friend, and I think that it's a good quote for both you and I.
Oh, good.
I am too intelligent, too demanding, and too resourceful for anyone to be able to take charge of me entirely. No one knows me or loves me completely. I have only myself.
Queen.
I knew you'd love that.
I love that.
I thought rather than a takeaway, I was going to give you that.
Thank you. That is my takeaway as well.
Excellent. Well, I just thought it would be an interesting thing for us to discuss this hot Tuesday evening.
Yes.
And I hope that everyone enjoys that little delve into Simone de Beauvoir, encourages them to read Becoming Beauvoir by Kate Kilpatrick.
Well, fantastic. We can link that in the show notes and everyone can get their copy. It sounds amazing. Thank you so much for this, Jane. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
I have too. See you next week, Wendy.
I can't wait. Goodbye.
Bye.
We have loved this conversation and sharing this love letter with you, and we would like to invite you to send us your love letters. Visit the link in the show notes to send us your letters and to join our email list. See you next week.